As dawn's light appeared over the field, the grunting of a herd of wild hogs shattered the morning silence. The ground was torn up, fresh claw marks showing the destruction of the night. Dark figures still shifted within the mist. Restless, hungry, unarmed. Without hesitation, a thunderous blast echoed across the field. A tannerite shot shook the earth like an explosion. When the smoke cleared, a heavy body lay still while the rest of the herd fled in panic. We quickly regrouped, forming a pursuit line, not just to protect the crops, but to maintain peace on the land we call home. On the wide field, the GPS tracker lit up. Sharp blinking signals guided each step. Every move was calculated, every look focused. Soon, the target appeared, almost invisible through the grass. The first shot sounded. Direct hit. Fast. Decisive. The hog dropped instantly, as quickly as the shot arrived. Less than 100 meters away, more hogs appeared. Each shot was firm and precise, cutting off every escape route. A flawless display from marksmen shaped by countless training sessions. The field grew silent again. Every ambush position along the edges tightened like a drawn bow. Then a figure moved. The barrel followed each step of the hog. And the moment it burst through the grass into danger, the final shot was released. Reflex, speed, discipline. These are what separate true hunters from those who merely watch. We stood alone in the open, waiting. 10 long minutes passed before the last shape appeared. Instead of fleeing, the hog charged straight at me. In that instant, survival depended on one thing: staying calm enough to keep the aim steady. Skill and composure meant everything. Hesitation had no place. Before we lowered our rifles, the dogs caught the scent and drove the hog out of hiding. Instantly, fingers tightened on triggers and eyes locked on the target. The hog burst forth like a sudden gust, but even its speed couldn't escape a perfect shot. Once again, teamwork between people and dogs carved another unforgettable moment into the hunt. After hours of tense tracking, the afternoon sun emerged. We kept a steady pace, watching closely for movement. Suddenly, signals from the eastern field lit up. The hogs were near. Nick immediately moved in to clear the danger zone. When the herd appeared, a series of controlled, rhythmic shots echoed, each one certain. They ran across the field, but none slipped through the storm of bullets. Another dramatic chapter ended, restoring peace to the forest. The noise remained loud near Nick. I focused completely on my target. Every shot left no chance for escape, sending a clear message to anything threatening this land. Which moment made your heart race the most? Share your thoughts below. Your feedback means a lot to us. We never hunt recklessly. Every action is taken responsibly. Protecting crops, keeping local families safe, and fully following U.S. wildlife conservation laws. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos.
Before the sun fully rose over the eastern United States, the wild boars had already begun moving, leaving long trails of destruction across the fields. For professional hunters like us, this was the moment to step out and face the challenge and wild provocation of these creatures. Every step was more than a chase, it was a battle of instinct, survival, and raw strength. After 3 days of tracking footprints and sounds, I had learned the movement patterns of this herd. Today, my team and I decided to test ourselves, to see if our skills and instincts were still sharp. Within less than a minute of waiting, the first dark figures appeared. No one seemed surprised, only respect for the experience and alertness required when confronting such sudden threats. The opening success happened quickly, and soon after, more shadows lurked behind the bushes along the field. In this open terrain, everything unfolded fast. From the edge of the field, entire groups of wild boars, along with lone individuals, surged forward. I couldn't stop them all, but that didn't shake our focus. They were heading straight toward the interception point Mark had set up. As expected, Mark handled the situation flawlessly, neutralizing the risks with calmness and the skill of a seasoned hunter. Our defensive line stretched from the outer edge deep into the field, each person positioned and ready. The battle lasted only a few hours, but the result sent a clear message: any intruder would have to think twice before stepping onto this land again. On the western side of the field, a few members of the team held their positions. The air was quiet, but our vigilance never faded. Suddenly, a dog's bark shattered the silence. A massive wild boar appeared, easily over 200 kilograms. One look at its sharp tusks was enough to understand what could happen if we reacted too slowly. Like and share to support our team so we can bring you even more intense and high-quality hunting footage. At the decisive moment, Mark once again displayed his technique and steady nerves. Every shot was perfectly accurate, removing threats before they could form. Even the most unpredictable shadows on this battlefield couldn't escape Mark's calm control. This wall of defense was proof of his authority and near-perfect precision.
Bra!
We continued moving upward. In the mountainous areas, our team hurried to block the animals before they disappeared into the steep slopes. From afar on the hillside, small wild boars appeared and vanished into the bushes. Without hesitation, we deployed our strategy, prioritizing individual targets to prevent them from regrouping. At a distance of over 100 meters, Mark remained calm. He gently pulled the trigger, and the sound echoed through the valley. The target fell instantly. The remaining ones, whether near or far, were quickly locked in by our marksman. Steel discipline, deep experience, and smooth teamwork allowed us to prevent what could have been a major destruction. Before the dust settled, new targets appeared. Without hesitation, we handled each of them cleanly, even the smallest shadows trying to escape. Every shot carried the responsibility of protecting the crops, the local community, and the peace of these vast fields.
We are standing in Florida, a vibrant tropical paradise, yet also the battleground of a silent struggle. Behind its serene beauty lies a serious issue: wild feral hogs. They are not native to this land but an invasive species. Each year, they cause billions of dollars in damage, destroying crops and harming agricultural lands across the state. The place we are in is a swampy area surrounded by dense pine forests. Florida is reported to have the highest population of wild hogs in the United States, with some exceptionally large individuals appearing from time to time. Our mission today is to reduce the damage they cause. Stay with us closely. This will surely be a memorable hunt. As we began, we built tall observation walls to monitor the entire area, ready for any unexpected situation. Only a few minutes later, several bold hogs appeared, rummaging through our stored supplies below. I quickly checked the target, pulled the trigger, and brought down the first one. The second one panicked and ran, but it was already too late. Staying calm, I aimed carefully and handled it immediately. This initial double success gave the whole team a strong boost for the journey ahead. We continued deeper into the forest, each step taken with caution. Suddenly, a massive herd appeared, possibly dozens of them. Clearly, the wild hog population in Florida had exploded. This was the perfect chance to land a decisive strike. I controlled my breathing, focused on the largest hog, squeezed the trigger, and watched it fall instantly. The herd scattered in chaos. The team quickly split up, following the isolated targets to prevent any threat from escaping. Kevin, my teammate, spotted a group of hogs rushing toward him. He immediately took position, steadied his rifle, and locked onto the leading hog. A series of firm shots echoed, and the hog collapsed right away. The others scattered wildly, opening new opportunities for the next phase of our journey. When the herd dispersed, we identified another hog hiding in thick bushes. I reloaded, steadied my breath, and took a precise shot. The hog was neutralized instantly. Right after that, we followed a narrow path leading to damp ground marked with fresh tracks. A few steps later, a soft rustling sound came from behind an old pine tree. I signaled the team to stop. A medium-sized hog slowly crossed the path, unaware of our presence. I moved to get a better angle, balanced myself, and gently pulled the trigger. The shot landed cleanly, and the hog dropped moments later. Another target handled smoothly, giving us room to advance. By late afternoon, the fading light made our search more urgent. From afar, I saw a large hog moving slowly. This time, I did not rush. I stayed silent, waiting for it to come closer. When it finally stopped, I took the shot. It fell instantly. Once again, patience proved invaluable during the final stretch of the hunt. As dusk settled, we began following the old trail back. But from the dark edge of the forest, a final target emerged. Without hesitation, I reloaded, focused with all my attention, and fired the last shot of the day. That crisp sound marked the perfect end to our journey. We gathered the game and used a specialized vehicle to transport everything. All procedures were carried out according to U.S. wildlife regulations. Leaving the area, we felt a deep sense of fulfillment. So, which moment of this journey impressed you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments.
On the snowy mountain peaks, where the cold can freeze anything in its path, wild boars still survive thanks to their thick fur and protective fat layers. Despite the biting wind and bone-chilling temperatures, they rush down to the farmlands, causing severe destruction during the harsh winter. They flip soil and rocks, tear apart crop rows, and even threaten local farmers. Unable to stand by and watch their homeland being ravaged, brave hunters step into the frozen wilderness to protect the people. Can they overcome the brutal weather and face these powerful animals? The journey ahead will reveal everything. We moved along the western hillside, where the snow had begun to melt into streaks on the cold rocks. This was the area predicted to show signs of wild boars. John released the hunting dogs, directing them toward the lone boars that caused the most damage to farms. It didn't take long before the dogs barked furiously. They pushed the first target toward me. As it charged, I calmly raised my rifle and fired a precise shot. The creature staggered, easily weighing over 200 kilograms. A major threat had been dealt with, and our first victory was secured. We continued higher up the slope. In areas where the snow still covered the ground, our team worked to block the herd before warmer weather encouraged them to roam further. From a distance on the snowy ridges, small groups of boars appeared one after another. We quickly deployed our strategy, focusing first on the solitary ones. At more than 300 m away, John gently pulled the trigger. The blast echoed across the snowy mountains, and the target collapsed instantly. The remaining boars, near and far, were swiftly tracked by the marksmen in our team. Strict discipline, years of experience, and perfect teamwork helped us prevent a potential wave of devastation. Do not be fooled into thinking everything was easy. John's long-range shots came from countless hours of training and unwavering discipline. Throughout the pursuit, binoculars served as our second pair of eyes, capturing every subtle movement on the snow. Dark silhouettes gradually emerged on the white backdrop. Locking onto distant targets required more than accuracy, it demanded calculation of distance, wind, and bullet trajectory. Each silhouette that fell represented not only a victory, but also a promise of a protected harvest season. Meanwhile, on the western slope, Nick spotted a group of wild boars basking on an open patch of snow. A gunshot rang out, and he immediately chased after the fleeing animals. Yet no matter how hard he tried, their incredible speed left him behind. He pulled out his iPhone 16 to signal the team. Within minutes, the group arrived and surrounded the area. No wild boar could slip away. If this part excites you, remember to like and share, it motivates us to bring even more spectacular encounters. The pursuit continued relentlessly. Fresh tracks on the snow led Nick and me to a massive wild boar. The moment we faced it, I knew the weapon in my hands was more than equipment. It was a sharp warning, a decisive end to the chaos these animals had caused for so long. As darkness settled in, we decided to sweep the area one last time before heading home. Any remaining animals were handled swiftly. The mountains became peaceful again, and the locals could rest easier knowing their land was safer this winter. The winter operation ended. Everything was carried out in compliance with United States hunting laws. The trophies piled high on the Toyota Land Cruiser represented not only hard work and effort, but also a sacred responsibility, protecting the crops and the people of this land.
Looking at the scene behind me, it really resembles a battlefield rather than a cornfield. Each fallen corn stalk symbolizes the sweat and tears of the farmers who have tirelessly tended this land. We cannot let their efforts be destroyed, especially when it all happened in just one night, turning everything into ruins. That is why today we decided to take action. To cover as much ground as possible, we split into two teams. Thomas and I will occupy the higher ground on the hill. Meanwhile, Ethan and Jacob will move deeper into the dense forest beside us. The rules are simple. The team that fires fewer shots will have to handle all the spoils and prepare dinner for everyone. The Land Rover Defender is warmed up. It's time to go. Currently, we are standing at a high position on the hill. Early morning is the golden hour for hunters, as it's when wild boars leave their hideouts to forage for the last time. Suddenly, my iPhone 17 receives an alert. Some targets are moving towards us, about 200 meters away. I immediately get into position, ready as their dark shapes begin to appear in the distance. I am determined not to lose sight of the target. Just as I prepare to pull the trigger again, I see it fall, motionless. It seems that luck has smiled upon us right from the start. We continue driving the Land Rover Defender up a steeper hill to find new targets. From above, I spot a wild boar moving slowly through the dense underbrush below the hill. In situations like this, the most important lesson is patience. I have to wait until it completely emerges from the brush. With my experience and quick reflexes, I fire. The feeling of a successful plan is truly exhilarating. The sun is now higher in the sky, and from my experience, the wild boars will start returning to the thick brush for shelter. Therefore, Thomas and I decide to change tactics and set up an ambush just behind the bushes on the hill. We've carefully studied their movements and know their habits well. Everything is unfolding exactly as we planned. And just a note, all our hunting activities are in strict compliance with U.S. laws. Our victory doesn't last long, as the next challenge arrives quickly. From our position on the hill, we spot not just one wild boar, but an entire herd heading toward us. If this herd passes through, the crop damage will be severe. We must act immediately. The sound of gunfire echoes across the valley, successfully halting their progress and protecting the cultivated land behind us.
한살이라고.
While my team is busy on the hill, Ethan and Jacob are facing a similarly tense situation. The dense trees severely limit their visibility. Jacob reports via radio that a wild boar suddenly appeared right in front of him. In an instant, Jacob reacts swiftly. It's truly a professional and decisive move. The barking of the hunting dogs leads Jacob deeper into the forest. Here, the dog successfully corners a massive wild boar, weighing hundreds of pounds. The fierce beast throws the dogs aside. The situation becomes extremely dangerous. Jacob knows he cannot hesitate, not only to protect the crops, but also to save his four-legged companions. Meanwhile, on the edge of the forest, Ethan has chosen an open spot to set up an ambush. The silence doesn't last long, as the barking from deep in the forest signals that the target is charging straight toward him. He cannot let it escape. The wild boar is subdued immediately. There's no better way to end today's mission of protecting the crops. That means we've safeguarded the land for the cornfield. However, the rules remain unchanged. My father spent the whole season growing sugarcane on a plot of land by the forest. Yet after only a few short nights, a herd of wild boars rushed in, ruining all our family's hard work and threatening our livelihood. We could not stand by and watch, so we filled ourselves with determination. At dawn the next morning, our team set out. Will this journey to reclaim justice for our land succeed? Let's find out together. The plan had been prepared the night before. We formed a wide arc, using hunting dogs to drive the boars toward a predetermined ambush point. Everyone was equipped with terrain grip boots, radios for constant communication, and rifles that had been carefully checked. Nearby, the pickup truck and our dogs were ready for action. Before sunrise, the forest awoke to the sharp barking of the dogs. Every step we took was cautious, every small sound was analyzed. This hunt was not merely about pulling a trigger, it was a blend of patience, instinct, and experience. Then the first reward appeared. A startled wild boar burst from its hiding place and sprinted across the open ground ahead. I raised my rifle, my heartbeat racing. Bang! The boar spun for a moment and collapsed onto the dry grass. We continued moving toward the hilltop, the perfect vantage point over the whole area. When we arrived, the dog's urgent barking rose from below. They had cornered another boar. I lifted my rifle, but a teammate was quicker, ending the pursuit with a precise shot. In moments like that, we always understood, any successful shot, no matter who fired, was a victory for the whole team. Re-energized, we spread across the hills, tightening our tactical circle. Experience guided us, reading the wind, noticing faint signs on the ground, and waiting patiently. My instincts whispered that a boar was approaching. Seconds later, it dashed out. But fortune was not on its side. My bullet stopped its charge the moment it appeared. By noon, the sun beat harshly on the hills. I moved to a gentle slope with a clear view for detecting movement. Minutes later, the radio crackled. A herd was being pushed downhill. My goal was not to shoot as many as possible, but to break their formation. The leader was always the priority. I held my breath, aimed, and fired. The lead boar fell, and the rest scattered instantly. I reported their escape path, and from Kevin's position, gunfire echoed as more were stopped. When sunset arrived, fatigue crept in, but our focus remained. As we descended the hill to load our gear, the dogs suddenly barked fiercely nearby. Some stragglers were still hiding. A boar appeared in front of us. My shot rang out cleanly, striking the target, the sound rolling through the quiet forest like a stone across a still lake. Then another emerged. I fired the last round of the day, bringing it down into the dry leaves and closing a hunt filled with tension and resolve. Back at the Jeep Gladiator, the truck bed was filled with the team's rewards. A long day ended with a heavy yet satisfying feeling. At least today we did what had to be done, protecting the crops and the labor of an entire season. If this journey resonates with you or you want to follow more stories from the wild, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to join us on future adventures. See you in the next one. When wild boars appear, the entire countryside must rise to defend itself. These creatures are not just ferocious animals hiding in the bushes, but the biggest threat to agriculture and the ecosystem of the southern United States. As they reproduce rapidly and invade residential areas, they trample on crops, destroy farmland, attack livestock, and even pose a danger to humans. And just a few nights of activity, an entire harvest can be wiped out. That's why regulated control and hunting are not just recreational solutions. They aim to protect the land, the community, and maintain natural balance. Today, we begin with a clear mission: to stop the invading boar herd before they cause further damage. If you want to see the real value behind each hunt, follow us now. Stepping out of the familiar Toyota, our group slowly makes its way deeper into the forest. Over the past 2 weeks, we've meticulously tracked every footprint, every overturned patch of soil. The orange of our hunting jackets stands out against the dense forest, a reminder of discipline, safety, and teamwork. Beneath the dry leaves, a new sign appears. No more words are needed. Every position is exactly where we practiced hundreds of times. Using long-range observation devices, we close the circle from multiple directions, leaving the wild boars no chance of escape. When the first shots ring out, the opening assault ends swiftly and effectively. This is not just a victory. It is the first glimmer of hope for farmers who are facing the risk of losing their entire crop. Without hesitation, we scan every gap with binoculars, sneaking through thick brush. Whenever a shadow flits past, the protection plan is set into motion. We're hunting, always strictly adhering to the wildlife management regulations of the U.S. Every time the trigger is pulled, it's a piece of the harvest saved. All this is aimed at one final goal: protecting the farm from the threat of wild boars. Effective wild boar hunting comes from hunters seizing opportunities and making the most of every chance to completely neutralize the threat. In just a second, the biggest danger to the herd is eliminated. But above all, it's the moment we truly feel our responsibility to maintain ecological balance, protect the community, and preserve the land for the next harvest. According to the experience of professional hunters, when the lead wild boar moves alone, it usually means the rest of the herd is hiding nearby. Missing them could turn the entire field into a wasteland. As predicted, the whole herd appears. The chase erupts violently. Taking them down quickly and accurately is the result of many years of training. The other side of the steep hill, amidst the dense trees, my team is executing the final encirclement strategy. Wild boars are extremely clever. They sense danger and can turn to flee immediately. At that distance, a single wrong step could endanger the entire group. Skill, calmness, and discipline allow you to complete the mission safely. One by one, the dangerous targets are neutralized. Here, hunting is not just about shooting skills. It's about making quick decisions, managing risks, and protecting the environment around us. When the crops are safe, the community can finally rest easy. But this battle never truly ends. Wild boars will return, and so will we, bearing the responsibility of protecting our homeland.
In recent days, the whole village has been worried about a wild boar herd. They have been charging down the hillside in waves, tearing up the fields and causing chaos in the land. The rough, growling sounds of their roars echo through the night, causing the villagers' hearts to tighten with fear. When the gathering order was given, we immediately set out, heading toward the green hill where the wild beasts were hiding. Despite the worry, a strong thought flashed through each of our minds: we must protect our homeland at all costs. As the first rays of dawn grew clearer, we advanced, following the deep tracks of their claws in the ground. Reaching halfway up the hill, the air became unnervingly silent. It was so quiet that every sound from below came to our ears clearly. Every sense was tense with anticipation. We stood still for 10 seconds. Then, a long-range shot was perfectly executed as the target appeared, our eyes gliding over it. The shadows to the right were swiftly eliminated. The opening strike had set the tone, a resolute declaration of our determination to protect the entire village's crops. After our success, our steps grew lighter. Driven by a new wave of determination, we split into teams and began sweeping through every crack in the ground, every narrow path. Soon, we stopped for 10 seconds. A lightning-fast response followed, and a shot rang out. The massive figure collapsed instantly. Another lurking threat had been stopped in its tracks. Before we could advance to inspect, a signal from our team echoed. The wild boars were hiding far off on the hillside. We followed their trail and quickly moved to block the narrow path. A perfect decision. The sounds determined the fate of the battle, but the others were not ready to give up. From a distance, another team quickly surrounded them, cutting off all escape routes. We moved in. The perfect synchronization, like a campaign rehearsed hundreds of times. We successfully stopped the surprise attack. As the sun rose higher, our steps quickened as we moved closer to flush out the lurking boars. Wild boars, being natural predators, often hide in thick bushes. At times like this, both eyes and ears must always be on alert, ready to face any threat. This intense focus allowed our strikes to be effective, preventing any sudden attacks from the wild boars. Once again, this confirmed the skills and courage of the hunters in their mission to protect the peace of the village. The journey continued when suddenly, the hunting dogs picked up the scent of prey. They followed the trail and charged forward at a terrifying speed. The sounds of gunfire, barking, and footsteps blended into a chaotic, tense atmosphere. Thanks to the seamless cooperation between humans and dogs, the wild boars were cornered, with no way out. When the space fell silent, only calm remained, along with the feeling of relief on the faces of those protecting the crops. The battle wasn't over, but once again, the teamwork between man and hunting dogs proved unstoppable. The determination, sharp instincts, and ability to read every sign meant no target could escape the swift and precise control of the hunters. That night, the villagers could finally sleep peacefully. No one had to fear the roars in the middle of the night or wake up to fields torn apart at dawn. It was a difficult period, but it resulted in peace and security for the homeland. Today's battle wasn't just a confrontation between man and beast. It was a journey of bravery, a testament to the spirit of protecting hard work and life itself. Every drop of sweat, every shot fired carried a sacred meaning.